Let's get ready to rumble!
Zinger Nation jam-packed show today. Peloton up 5%.
What's up, disciplined investor?
We got Benzinga CEO Jason Raznick here with us.
The man, the myth, the legend, Tom Nash.
Peter Schiff on the Power Hour with us live today.
Interesting, different, unique, innovative companies.
Mia, you are live with us on the Power Hour. What's up?
Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Jessica Billingsley, that is the CEO of Akerna.
The best trade idea resource out there. Boom! What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday! Just gotta crack my Celsius now that I'm a shareholder. Ticker CELH. Take a sip. We might not see any bangs until later in the week when I get especially tired. But what's going on, guys? Happy Tuesday. Happy trading day. We have a jam-packed show today, guys. You are on the Power Hour. This is the Trade Idea Show. That's what we're going for. So first call to action, everybody. Again, this is an active show, active participation. Drop your tickers in the chat if you have stocks that you're looking at, stocks you're trading. Put them in the chat. Let me give you a preview of what's going on today. Three big guests, all right? So we're going to be talking to Stephanie Canterman, Stock Whisperer. We're going to be talking dark pools. Okay, it's a topic that's been hotter than NFTs in April. I'll go that far. So we're gonna be talking dark pools right off the skip today, and especially how it relates to some of these hot stocks that we've been looking at recently. Rex Finance joining us at 12:30 Eastern, and then CleanSpark, the chairman of the company, Matt Schultz, is gonna be joining us at 12:45 Eastern. So first air horn of the day, boom. Jam-packed lineup. Again, this is the Trade Idea Show, so get your tickers in the chat. Again, we're going dark pools. We're talking to Rex Finance, who covers CleanSpark, and a handful of others. And then we'll be talking to CleanSpark directly right at 12:45 Eastern. But first things first. First announcement of the day, guys. We are 5 months into this thing. I've got a big reveal for you. Look at this. Can you see what this package says? YouTube. Yes, YouTube mailed us something. Let's do the unboxing here, all right? What is this? What is this? Guys, we got a plaque. 100K subscribers on the Benzinga YouTube channel. 5 months in. We have our plaque official, certified from YouTube. Let's go, baby. Air horns on that one. Here it is, out of the plastic. Look at that shiny 100K sub plaque. Next stop, 500,000. That's what we're going for. That's the community we're building here. That's what Zinger Nation, that's what the Power Hour, that's what all the shows we run are all about. It's about putting people in charge, getting ideas going, making us all better traders. One last time, guys, boom, you are all a part of this. Every single member of Zinger Nation. 100K subscribers on YouTube. We have the plaque to commemorate it. Shout out to YouTube for sending these awesome plaques out, by the way. But boom, we did it together. Share the streams, like the streams. Let's keep it rolling, guys. Whew. So, all right, that's how we're opening today on a little bit of good news. So we have our Celsius in hand. We have our 100K plaque in hand. And now let's hit it into dark pools. This is going to be a hot show today, guys. We're going to be moving fast. So again, the chat is your friend. I'm in there hanging out. So drop in these tickers, stocks you're looking at, and let's keep it rolling. But let me go ahead and bring Stephanie onto the stream with us. Stephanie, how are you doing on this fine Tuesday afternoon?
I am doing fantastic. How about you?
Doing well. We got some good news today. All right, we got our official YouTube certification for hitting 100K subscribers. We're about 5 months into running our video network, so
what's your secret?
Progress.
Like, what's your secret? How did you get 100,000 subscribers so fast?
A lot of energy drinks, 6 or 7 a day. A lot of spazzing out and sharing trade ideas.
Yeah, I think you're bringing on some really good guests. I think that is the key. And
yourself included.
The haircut.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There we go. Exactly.
Yep. All right.
But all right, Stephanie. But before we get into it, if you're just joining us, we're about to be talking dark pools. But before we get into it, Stephanie, can you give us a little bit of your background, your history as a trader, and then let's dive into the details.
Okay, so I have been doing this for 27 years, you guys. I started when I was 12 years old. Like some of you out there watching, right? No, not really, but I have been doing this for 27 years. I didn't know anything about trading. I honestly got lucky. Yeah, I got really lucky. I landed a job as an assistant to one of the top traders at the largest proprietary firm, Schoenfeld Securities in New York in 1994. Okay, guys, I'm sitting in the $1 million room and they're sitting me in front of an Instinet machine, which is the dark pool liquidity computer. And only these large firms had access to it. And I'll be honest, I didn't know anything about the stock market, but it was my job to check out the trades in the dark pool and let the traders at the table know if I saw the big guys buying or selling. Could you guys imagine if that's how you started trading? I mean, this is why these guys made $1 million. They were following
and these
smart
are
money.
big orders, I'm guessing, right?
Massive, billions of dollars.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so our 5K trades we're making are a little smaller than this.
A little bit. We don't want to compete against these guys. That's what I learned. Like, hey, we're not going to compete. Let's join them. So that's really how I got started and why I've been in this business for 27 years. I've been following the unusual dark pool activity, and really it's just an alternative exchange where these guys do their trades. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Barclays, like these are the biggest guys. And if you just follow the money, you're going to do well, right? I mean, it's pretty easy. What do you think?
And
Right?
so a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of money that flows through these, right?
Oh yeah, 40% of all the trades out there are being done in the alternative exchanges. There's about 40 of them, and I would have to even say the number is so much higher. So much higher.
Okay.
Absolutely. But it's sneaky. These guys do really sneaky trades. I mean, how do you sell billions of dollars at the top without moving the market down, right? How are you going to do that? If we can all see the trades happening in real time, we're going to jump in front of these guys and they're never going to get done at the top. However, doing them in the dark pool gives them 3 hours legally, to not tell us about their trade until it's done. So it could take them weeks to finish, and then they have 3 hours to tell us. But what I've observed in 27 years is that when they're selling heavily on the top, they're not telling us the same day. They're telling us 24 hours late, and we can easily see these trades. It's easy. And I've called every major correction before it's happened on social media just by looking at a specific pattern. And, I can share that with you at another time.
Okay, so let me ask this. I'm the slow down guy on this show. I slow everything down, so let me just make sure I grasp it right. But basically what you're saying is 40% of total trade volume is taking place not on the primary exchanges like a NYSE or a NASDAQ like you and I are trading on, but it's happening in these dark pools. And the typical market participant doesn't actually see the trade activity that's happening on these dark pools because they're just trading between each other. And we're finding out several hours later when they eventually report that to a primary exchange. Is that accurate?
That is correct. Most people will not be able to see it. Now, I do have, that Instinet machine that I sat in front of back in 1994. Well, NASDAQ took it over. So it's now called the NASDAQ Book Viewer. On my computer, it actually still says INET. Okay. But I can actually see their orders being done, except it's not going to show up in the time and sales window until it's completed. So that's pretty cool. So I can actually see where these big guys are also loaded to buy and sell in these electronic communication network platforms. It's called a level 3. Some people call it a level 3, or I call it a book. Most people, I'm sure your viewers, are not even using that. And that's huge. Everybody has access to that. We can all have access to all of this. It's just that nobody really tells you about it, right?
There we go. Okay. And so can you help us tie this back to some of the big retail stocks, right? We've heard dark pools coming up as it relates to GameStop, as it relates to AMC, hedge funds being mischievous in these names. Can you tie this back to those stocks for us?
Oh, absolutely. I saw massive dark pool activity. Oh gosh, right now I'm looking at my whole list here. When it was back at $7.08, massive dark pool. We're talking $31 million trade that happened on January 28th. Okay, massive. There was another massive $24 million trade at $10 on January 28th. Another 20 million trade. I mean, these are huge blocks done by one institution. Now, what I'll share with you is the most recent one that we had, which is $52.37. That is like the key level. As long as AMC stays above 52.37, that's really bullish. $125 million, one trade. Can you imagine? I mean, how many of you, I know you guys are all invested in it, but how many of you literally did $125 million in one trade? Yeah.
I haven't. Nope.
Yeah, I know. Well, so we're not going to go against this guy. And I don't know who it is.
And can you give us that price one more time? The price that trade took place at?
$52.37.
All right.
On June 7th.
So here it is. I don't know if you guys can see my chart. Let's zoom it in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the level that we're looking at. 52.37.
37.
Right, close enough.
As long as we close above and see how we've held support there.
Yep.
That's there's a computer.
A lot of days.
Loaded to buy. Yeah, loaded and buying there. And that's where I draw the line in the sand. You know,
Okay.
and of course, unless another big print comes along. But it's been fairly quiet. That was really the biggest one.
So when you see this trade activity coming across, out of dark pools, how do you interpret it? How do you respond to it? I know you're calling out this 52.37 level on AMC, but more generally, how does somebody work with that information?
So I always picture that it's somebody big, like Goldman Sachs, and I want to be on his team pretty much in this trade because he has more money than I do. But I also know that once it's like throwing a big rock into the ocean. And so once that print appears, and a print is an executed trade, it's already been done, and I'm looking for these large prints. Once it's been executed and thrown out to us, it splashes the stock. So a lot of times, if they're buying, kind of to fake us out, they'll splash it down, and then it will move up through the print and off to the races. Or if they're selling, they'll move it a little bit higher, and then they'll crash it down. So there's kind of a little pattern and a rhythm to it. And it depends if the stock always has these large trades in it, or is this something really unusual? There's different patterns for different things, but that's pretty much the gist of it. And I always tell my traders, look, never go to sleep on the wrong side of the print because you're going to get wiped out.
Okay. And so, all right.
Yeah, but
I like that tactical advice. Don't go to bed
on the wrong side.
If you're holding positions, they're on the opposite of where the big trades are coming through.
I do understand that AMC is a little bit different. Yeah, we got a couple of other players that are shorting this. We got a major short squeeze going on. I have been paying attention to the short volume interest increasing. And look, I hope we squeeze the you-know-what out of these guys, right? I mean, that is...
There we go.
I do. I'm for it. I'm bullish. Let's go, Abe's. Let's push it. Yeah, let's squeeze them. It is above the print. We do have a wedge. I'm sure everybody's noticed that on the daily chart. Yeah, it's a bull flag, really a pennant. So all it needs to do, and we tested it this morning. We went up to 61 and then came down. We really need to close strong above that 61 level, and then I can see that's when they'll feel the pain, right? What do you think, Luke? Where if you were short, where would you start to feel the pain? What price would you cover?
Oh, God.
That's what we need to ask ourselves because that's when it's going to happen.
Yes. And something that we've been saying on this show since we started is if you're going to try to go against a stock like this, do it with puts, please, for the love of God. I blew up three accounts in my early trading days, so, one each year in the first 3 years, and one of them was trying to short tops. I'm telling you, a stock that's running, it can keep running. It's even if it's up 100%, it could go up 1,000%. I would never short any stock like this, and I think it's amazing that they're deploying so much capital to do that.
It's an ego trade. They're trying to trade off fundamentals. I mean, look what happened to Tesla. That hedge fund went out of business shorting it. Yep. That's a perfect example. It's an ego trade. Did it make any economical sense why Tesla was going up like that? No. Wall Street and Main Street are two different streets. Okay. Yep. Wall Street, totally different. It doesn't make any rational sense. When there's more buying, it goes up. When there's more selling, it goes down. TV is going to try to explain every move every day. Why it went up, why it went down. They're going to try to make it sound rational.
Yep.
But, it's not. It's totally irrational. So let's just trade it. Don't fight the tape. That is like key.
And Stephanie, let me ask you this question I keep seeing in the chat. This dark pool trade data, how do people access it? You've definitely captivated some minds. Folks want to know where can they see these transactions happening if it's not on the normal tape. Help us out there.
Yeah, so you can see it, like I said, after it's been posted, you can see the trade. But while it's being done, it's a little bit more complex. A lot of times they're doing these trades sometimes on the NASDAQ book viewer. That's the iNet. That's the dark pool I used to sit in front of. So I have that up a lot, and I just see them working the trade. And then all of a sudden, I see the trade happen on my block trade indicator. So, I'm using Charles Schwab block trade indicator. It's really good. But if you call them and ask them about the dark pool, they're probably not going to know. So it's there. It's there under the block trade indicator. However, this is the key. There's a lot of dark pool trades happening all day long. I get thousands of them. I'm literally looking at it right now.
Which makes sense.
I get hundreds. Let's just say hundreds. I only pay attention to maybe 6 or 7 of them from all day. All right. Okay. So that you have to know what's unusual. And that just is a little bit of experience. I have mine set up, different categories, different sizes. I'm going to be doing a webinar next week, a free webinar online for those of you that want to just come there. I'll show you, I'll show you what I'm looking at, how I use it and so forth, and how to trade it. If you follow me on social media, I'll be posting a link to join. So I can just show you my screen and exactly show you how to do it. But it's really simple. Now, there are other software out there, okay, that are going to try to sell you dark pool stuff for a lot of money. I don't know. I haven't used that. This is free if you have an account. I'm all for free.
There we go. Yep.
I'm all for free, you guys. I can get it for free. I've been doing this for 27 years and very well. I have a high success rate on my recommendations. I've called, so many crazy things. And it's all because of this amazing software that I have for free. Okay. You have to have an account with Schwab. You can put a little bit of money in there, but now I do have and I'm not trying to promote myself, but I do have a free room. Actually, it's free. I have a free room where I share it. If you go to my site, thedarkpools.com, okay, thedarkpools.com, sign up for the free room. I share my screen all day long, just the dark pools, because there's a lot of my traders that know me, that follow me. They can't get access. They live out of the country, and they've asked me repeatedly, can you just share the dark pool? Yeah. So you can get that for free. I've organized it in the columns, so you don't have to do any of that.
Boom. Perfect. And guys, I just put the link to that site in there. And Stephanie, could you read out the socials too, so for folks who want to stay in touch?
Sure. So there are people in that are impostering me. Yeah, it's awful.
So that's how you know you made it.
It's really bad though. People have been writing to me that have been scammed, and I'm like, they're not even spelling my name right. And it's awful. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Stephanie with an F, Stefanie, Kammerman, Kammerman. It also is under the name Volume, Volume, Print, Print, Cess, Cess, Print Cess. So they've been playing around with the name. You'll see I have like 24,000 followers. So if there's somebody else that looks like me, they take my picture and they only have 200 followers, it's not me. Okay. So
all right, and I'm gonna get that real link, not the fake link, in the chat. Okay.
Yeah,
no fake links in the chat.
Yeah. So I post a lot of good stuff on Twitter.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, yeah. Stephanie, I appreciate you coming on with us today and hanging out and taking us through the world of dark pools, telling us how we can take action on them. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Luke. Take care.
Absolutely. All right, guys. If you are just joining us, welcome to the Power Hour. This is the Trade Idea Show. Basically what we do is we spend 60 minutes just spazzing out about stocks and trying to bring ideas in here. Shout out all the green hearts I'm seeing flying through the chat. Appreciate you guys stopping by and hanging out with us. Up on the radar today, Rex Finance. Rex is joining us at 12:30 Eastern. Favorite recurring guest on the show. And then 12:45 Eastern, so that's about 20 minutes from now, we're going to be talking to CleanSpark, ticker CLSK, one of the hottest tickers around. One of the tickers that we see flying in the chat every single day. Chairman Matt Schultz is going to be joining us. So again, guys, if you are just hopping on, this is the Power Hour. This is the Trade Idea Show. We're trying to keep the ideas flying. Rex Finance joining at 12:30 Eastern. CleanSpark 12:45 Eastern. And I'm going to throw this one out to you guys. If you have any tickers that you're looking at, stocks you're trying to trade today, things that are on your radar, drop those tickers in the chat. We will take a look at them. We'll have a little bit of time, even though we have a jam-packed show. Boom. All right. Yeah, I see Ruel in the chat saying, let's go CleanSpark. But all right, let's go ahead and look at a couple tickers before Rex joins us, guys. I want to start off. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at Tesla. Ticker TSLA. If you guys recall, we do show our live portfolio on this show just about every single day. We entered a trade in Tesla. Now I believe it's 7 or 8 trading days ago. We sold puts at the 550 strike. We are looking great on those puts with the stock up to 682. I'm going to be going ahead and closing that trade tomorrow, most likely. Right now, our unrealized return on that put selling position, again, when you sell puts, it makes you what I like to call synthetically long a stock. So we squeeze out about 80% of that trade. We'll give it another day. We'll take advantage of a little bit of that time decay. Run that up to 85, 90% return there, and we're going to go ahead and close that Tesla trade. Other stocks, other tickers that I'm seeing fly out of the chat, CLOV, Clover. It's been another favorite. I'm going to zoom us in here. Clover having a big day. Here's a 2-day chart on Clover. Right off the open, the stock got to running. We're sitting right below $14 in Clover right now. My opinion on this one is if we clear the high of the day, so if we get above this 1445 level, we should have room to run. Let me zoom us out on the chart now. So if we clear that 1445, the next level that we have is 1530. So again, it will be a nice little gap there. I'm not in the stock right now. If I were looking to get into it, I'd be waiting to see if we can clear above this 1445 level and then looking for a run up to 1526. Hopefully all within one day, right? It should be a pretty quick trade if that happens. So let me throw this one out to the chat, guys. If you like Clover right now, drop me the 1. If not, drop me the 2. I want to see where everybody's at within this one. I see Cassie in the chat saying she still has her Clover bag. She wants to get rid of it. But again, drop me the 1s, 2s in the chat. I want to see where everybody is at with that stock. AMC, another ticker that I'm seeing in the chat, but we did just cover AMC. So we're going to go ahead and skip past that one right now. Wish is a good one. Let's go ahead and take a look at Wish. Another ticker that we're seeing coming out of the chat. My opinion on Wish, guys, and I hate to be like the hater on this stock because I'm usually not a hater on any stocks. I mean, it's not like an amazing business. It's an okay business. It's a shitty product, okay business. Stocks obviously gotten run up with some momentum. It appears that at least for now that momentum is cracked and is fading. We did see a second run take place after the first climb higher in Wish. Again, guys, if you haven't, go to wish.com. Do yourself a favor. Go to wish.com. I guarantee you will enjoy it. Let's just do it right now. We have a couple minutes before Rex Finance comes on. So this is wish.com. If you don't know what the company's business is, we're going to show you. It's basically just online shopping for a ton of really cheap stuff. Okay, so this is the homepage that I see when I create my account. I see 50-cent lights, $3.85 lasers, 89-cent lasers, $3 crack pipes. So if any of these items are interesting to you, drop me a note. Maybe we can convince producer Rohan to ship some merch out to you, unless it's the crack pipes. Okay. So that's the site. If you have not gone to wish.com, do yourself a favor and do it. In my opinion, I don't love the chart. I don't love the stock by any means. I've got other places that I'd rather put my money. So that's why I'm sitting on the sidelines with this one. But I do want to throw it out to the community. It has been a hot stock. If you guys like wish.com, you're either in it or wanting to be in it, throw me the 1 in the chat. If not, throw me the 2. I'm curious where everybody is at with this one. Next up, pulling tickers out of the chat, guys. And again, if you are just joining us, this is the Power Hour. This is the Trade Idea Show. We move fast. We get the ideas flowing. In just a couple of minutes here, Rex Finance is going to be joining us on stream to talk about CleanSpark, AMC, and a couple other tickers that he's been trading. Then we're going to be talking to the CleanSpark chair, Matt Schultz, at 12:45 Eastern. So we're going to keep it cruising and grabbing tickers out of the chat right now. Next up on the list, Palantir, ticker PLTR. It's not a stock that we've talked about in quite a while, not a stock that I've traded in quite a while. Having a little bit of a down day today. Is there news on Palantir? Let's take a look. Okay. Palantir, looks like there's news out today. Press release out. About a company working with Palantir on connected vehicle data. Not super interesting. Palantir is granted a... Okay, this is good. This is interesting. Palantir, and this is coming out of my trusty Benzinga Pro, guys. Pro.benzinga.com, pro.benzinga.com. Check it out. 2 weeks free. Okay, no reason not to check it out. But look at this one on my screen, and you know what? We'll pop it out to make it a little bit bigger. But Palantir granted a patent titled malicious activity detection system capable of efficiently processing data accessed from databases and generating alerts for display in interactive user interfaces. That's one of the reasons why I do love this company, because they do shit like this. They come out with patents titled like this. Yeah, okay, that's amazing. That's some fun, wild news. Stock not moving off of that patent they got or the connected vehicle data today. It's a stock that I like long-term, stock that I own for long-term, have not been trading, but this chart does look beautiful. Look at just this nice, steady grind without too many ups and downs from, 17 to 27. So if you have been in Palantir, shout out to you. It's one to take a look at. I'm going to put this one on the list for tomorrow for a deeper dive. I mean, the chart looks good. We like the company long term. Valuation and growth rates, that's what I'm going to want to take a look at next. So tomorrow, we're going to block off 15 minutes to deep dive together into Palantir. I think it's an interesting one. And let me throw this one out there too. If you guys like Palantir, it's the last one that we're going to ask about right now. But if you guys like Palantir, drop me the 1 in the chat. If not, drop me the 2. Curious where everybody is at with Palantir. And of course, guys, like the video, subscribe to the stream. We do this all day, every day. We're just bringing ideas, smashing energy drinks. There's a little like button on your screen. I guarantee it. It's right there. It's a little thumb. Looks like this. Okay. Got our 100K YouTube sub plaque, all right? So go smash that little thumb button there, and we'll just keep crooking. But and for everybody who's just joining us, guys, let me give you a preview of what we have to come. In just a minute from now, Rex Finance is going to be joining us. We're going to be talking about CleanSpark and a couple other tickers that he's been hot on. I want to ask specifically about Mara and Riot. He likes one and doesn't like the other, which I think that's interesting. So we'll look at that. And 12:45 Eastern, so just about 15 minutes from now, CleanSpark chair Matt Schultz is going to be joining us live on the Power Hour. Got some awesome questions lined up for him. And of course, if you guys have questions in the chat, go ahead and drop them. But without further ado, let me bring Rex Finance onto the stream with us. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's good to be back on here. How are you?
Good, man. It's been too damn long. Okay, we were due. We were due.
That's right.
And before we get into it and I start hammering you with tickers, because this is the Trade Idea Show, why don't you give us a little bit of your background? Tell us what you do. You run a pretty big YouTube channel. You got a lot of people who are tuning into those videos. But yeah, give us a little bit of background on yourself.
All right, yeah, my pleasure. So I think the last time I was on here, I was able to brag that I was a 19. Well, I'm 20 now, so I'm getting old, and I can't really brag that I'm 19 anymore. But yeah, I have a weird passion for a kid my age with the stock market and finding individual stocks and growth stocks in particular. And in stocks like CleanSpark, like we're about to talk about today, you guys have the privilege of listening to Matthew Schultz speak. He's a great guy, and I'm sure he's going to give you some really good information today. So I don't want to brag myself up, but yeah, you guys can check me out, Rex Finance on YouTube, and figure out what I'm all about.
All right, there we go. See, I always used to, when I started here, I used to be the youngest guy in like the finance business and financial news, stock market business. I'm definitely not anymore. It's sort of disgusting. I'm curious. Everybody in the chat, guess how old I am. All right, we'll do an age reveal at the end of the show. I don't know if we've done this yet. I had a birthday recently. But all right, let's kick it off. I've got a list of symbols I want to ask you about, but let's kick it off with CleanSpark. Why don't you just give us a little bit of background as to where you're at with the company, why you think it's compelling, and then we'll keep hammering down the ticker list.
Yeah, so I mean, I could talk all day long about CleanSpark, so I'll try and keep it brief. But it's really compelling to me. They entered the cryptocurrency space at the end of 2020. And man, that has gone better than even the management team expected it to go with, Bitcoin prices going up, the way they're scaling up the operation, all that stuff. But what's really, really interesting to me is the fact that CleanSpark's basically the only publicly traded Bitcoin mining company that has an underlying business where Bitcoin mining is not everything they focus on. They have an energy side of the business where they deal with microgrids. And a microgrid, for those of you that are unaware of what a microgrid is it's basically your traditional, the power lines outside, but it's decentralized and everybody owns their own power. So CleanSpark has had contracts with Walmart, HEB, Macerich, and all these different big names, and it's very, very exciting stuff that they're working on.
Okay. And your thesis, let me just recap, because I am the slowdown guy, but your thesis, and sorry, I'm jotting down some notes, but your thesis basically is you like it because it has that underlying microgrid business, and then, you basically use that as a platform to get into Bitcoin mining versus Bitcoin mining first, being their primary business. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that's been really interesting to me is a lot of the pure play Bitcoin mining companies, they don't really know what they're going to be doing 10, 15, 20 years down the road. But CleanSpark's taking their Bitcoin mining profits and building a behemoth of an energy company right before our eyes. And it's only a matter of time before Wall Street recognizes this and, the stock price goes back up to all-time highs, in my opinion.
Okay. And then let's keep it on the Bitcoin miners. You recently did some research on Mara versus Riot. Again, guys, those tickers are MARA, Mike Alpha Romeo Alpha. There's one Mara and Riot, Romeo Oscar India Tango. So Marathon and then Riot. You like one, you don't like the other. Will you take us through that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think it's that I don't like the other, but I think in this scenario in particular with what's happening in the Bitcoin industry, one company is more favorable to the other, and that's because Riot Blockchain, if you guys are unfamiliar, they recently did an acquisition of Windstone is what it's called, and that is a Bitcoin hosting facility where they host other companies' Bitcoin miners at this facility. Now, Riot Blockchain does not own any of their own Bitcoin mining facilities. They own this hosting facility, but they also pay other companies to host their Bitcoin miners, which is kind of interesting. But over 75% of the world's Bitcoin mining output comes from China. And obviously China's been cracking down on this, and all of these miners are going to be looking for other places to go. And the first option is the United States of America. So it's kind of an opportunity that Riot Blockchain has with Windstone that Mara does not, because Mara doesn't own a hosting facility. It doesn't own its own Bitcoin mining facilities, any of that stuff. Riot Blockchain, like I already mentioned, owns that Windstone facility, and they can take advantage of hosting these miners that are coming from overseas and into the United States of America as another revenue stream.
Okay. All right. So there's the pitch there. And this is the Trade Idea Show. This is the Stock Idea Show. Okay. I already asked you about 3 tickers in like 4 minutes. So we're moving quick. But will you take us through something else that you like? So something that may be more unexpected or that we probably don't already talk about every single day on this show?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm always full of ideas, and I actually have a new stock pick coming out later this week. But I want to talk about SG
Wait,
blocks
can we get the
for a
new
second.
pick? Okay, fine. No, keep going.
Yeah, I'm keeping the new pick secret right now while I build my position. It's happened too many times in the past where I let it out and then the stock price goes up. I don't know if that's because of the people that watch me buy it or what. Maybe it's just bad luck. But I'm going to keep that under wraps for now. But stay tuned later this week for that.
All right,
but yeah,
well,
SG blocks. SG blocks. I think I've talked about them in the past, maybe on Benzinga. I don't remember if I did last time or not. But what they're doing is really...
And ticker on that one is Sandy Golf Bravo X-Ray, guys.
Yep,
SGBX. Somebody drop that in the chat. Help your fellow zingers out. Boom. New trade idea coming. Rex, keep going.
Yeah, so, first look at this business. It's not a sexy business because they work with prefab container structures, which is basically the big shipping containers made out of steel. But what they do with these containers is really, really interesting. And I think they have an opportunity themselves to actually enter the Bitcoin mining industry. But also, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on the show, so I apologize if I'm not, but they also have an opportunity to enter the cannabis space with these prefab container structures.
Dude. Well, I don't know. You clearly weren't watching the show like 1 minute before you joined, because we were browsing wish.com and, first page, we got crack pipes there. So you're toning it down like 19 levels. Also,
Okay.
I'm going to throw this one out there. Benzinga was the first news source to actually build out a cannabis stock news desk. We have a dedicated reporting desk only for cannabis stocks. We have 4 team members on it. We were literally 3 years, I believe, before Bloomberg on that. We started in 2014. But all right, Rex, keep going. SGBX, you're taking us through your bull thesis on this one.
Yeah, for sure. So in the past, I mean, I think with a lot of these small cap companies, they have not the most attractive past as a company. But I think in particular, SGBX has turned the curve where they're well on track to succeed as a business now. They had some hiccups in the past, but I think they're behind us. Like I said, they can get into Bitcoin mining and cannabis. But even if they don't, I mean, it's a company that's growing their revenues at triple-digit percentages year over year, and that's going to continue for the next couple of years. It's a lot like CleanSpark in that sense. They're debt-free, although I do think they're probably going to have to do some financing here soon. They've announced several different construction projects, and I think their market cap's like 40 million or something. And their most recent contract they announced was they're going to receive like $150 million in manufacturing revenue, which is crazy. A $40 million company doing that in revenue, that's not going to come till 2023, that project. But that's just an example there. So people ask me all the time, is it still okay to buy these stocks? I mean, they've already kind of recovered from their lows. Because we all know growth stocks kind of had a crash towards the beginning of the year. And to that, I say I'm personally not buying SG blocks. I'm personally not buying CleanSpark currently. But that's because I was buying them at the lows, right? I was deploying my cash at the lows, so I don't need to buy them right now. But as the rotation back to growth stocks continues, there's going to be hiccups along the road. I mean, it just happens every single time there's a cycle in the stock market. There's going to be hiccups and bumps in the road. And on those dips, that's your chance to add to these stocks, even if you miss the bottom.
Okay. And I mean, the chart on this one, again, guys, we're talking about SGBX. Rex just took us through his bull thesis if you're just joining. I mean, the chart on this one, this recent leg is pretty, right? Yeah. I mean, this is a nice, steady trend. It looks like we might have broken it. We'll see. The price is holding, so I would want to see this chart show a little bit more strength before I were to get into it. But I mean, it's a pretty good looking chart, generally speaking.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's only something like 8 million shares outstanding, or that's their float or something. And I personally know 2 people that own over 100,000 shares of this company, so they themselves own like 2% or whatever it is of the total float. So
they're going to have to accidentally file. That's a bad day.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, crap. I bought 10% of the float. I'm going to have to file. All right, awesome. So you took us through that one. We only have a couple more minutes, Rex. Anything else that's on the buy list or anything else that's especially interesting to you right now?
Well, I mean, like I already stated, I mean, CleanSpark's always interesting to me, and Matthew's going to give a good show today, I'm sure. I mean, I think you guys must consider me the CleanSpark hype man or something, having me on right before the chairman sits down with you guys. But
we
I'll
just
take
wanted
it, you know?
to, give him an easy act to follow.
Oh.
Just kidding. Just kidding. You know we love you.
No, that's great. No, yeah, I like CleanSpark SG blocks, and this next stock I'm going to talk about in probably my next couple videos. It's actually as high conviction as CleanSpark, so I'm really excited to share that one.
All right. Well, will you at least give us a teaser and tell us what sector that stock is in, or generally what they do? I'm not asking for a name or a ticker. Just give us a little bit of something to prime the brakes. Yeah,
absolutely. So I'll tell you, it's a SPAC, and I think SPACs are going to come back, by the way.
I do too.
And it's in the NASDAQ, and it's related to electric vehicles a little bit, but they do so much more. I mean, it's related to cell phones, electric vehicles, power tools. I mean, think about what's in all of those things. It's called a battery. So
it's a battery play. I was gonna say it's a battery play. All right. It's interesting. And Rex, how do folks stay in touch?
Yep. So I already mentioned Rex Finance on YouTube. I mean, I've been counting out the videos.
There, guys. Give me a second.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for doing that. Yep. And then you can find me on Twitter. I'm on Twitter too. I'm pretty active there. And I am actually meeting with my university here later this week to hopefully get my schoolwork paid for by the university. But if that doesn't happen, this guy's going to be dropping out, and we're going to be continuing to pump out the videos. So stay tuned for that. I'll keep you guys updated.
There it is. Things we endorse on this show: dropping out of school, trading stocks. Yeah, I don't know. I could keep going, but the list won't get any better. But awesome, guys. Hit that like, share that stream. Big shout out to Rex Finance, taking time out of his day to come on with us, take us through a handful of stocks. I mean, we just did like 5 tickers in 10, 15 minutes. Thorough pitches. I appreciate you joining, as always, sir.
Yes, absolutely. Hit that like button for these guys. I know Rex Nation's watching this. Give them a like down below. You just got to do it.
Boom. Big shout out, Rex Nation. Perfect. All right, guys. We're going to keep it clipping. For anybody who is just joining us, welcome. You are on the Power Hour. This is the Trade Idea Show, the most hyper stock market show out there. I don't think I've ever coined it as that, but let's face it, it is. Tickers that we've talked about today. We talked about Tesla, Ford, Palantir. We talked about Morrow Riot just a second ago. We did AMC as it related to dark pools. So, I mean, we're just going to keep it coming, guys. We're about to talk to Matt Schultz, chairman of CleanSpark, ticker CLSK. One of the hottest tickers in there. I don't think a day goes by where we don't get the CleanSpark ticker dropped in the chat. Users talking about it, wanting to hear more from the company. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring Matt onto the show with us. Hello, sir. Welcome to the Power Hour. We are glad to have you here.
Hey, Luke. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be involved.
Absolutely. And guys, if you don't know, Matt Schultz, chairman of CleanSpark, again, a very popular stock amongst our viewership. And before we get into it, Matt, could you just give us a little bit of background on the company and on yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the co-founder of the company, and we've been involved in the energy space since 2011 is when we first proposed on a microgrid project for the Marine Corps. And that microgrid powers a data center, navigation, guidance, communications facility for the Marines. And it's been in daily operation since 2014. We kind of grew our business from the military complex into more commercial, industrial, adding energy storage to solar and other forms of generation to allow people to operate disconnected from the grid. And then we made a series of acquisitions to grow our business, to support federal programs that allow for larger energy developers, energy consumers to participate in grid programs that actually enable revenue sharing. So we really have a solid software-based energy business, a series of patents surrounding a lot of the different aspects of what we do. And we were proposing a solution for a Bitcoin facility just over a year ago. And I think, everyone knows in the media right now that, Bitcoin has a bit of a black eye because of the reported impact on the environment. And we had an opportunity to potentially provide an energy solution for a large Bitcoin miner. And it really was kind of that tipping point for us. And we recognized an opportunity that if Bitcoin is really all about energy, and we fancy ourselves as experts in the energy space, would it not make sense to, maybe step into this space and utilize some of our expertise and our proprietary energy technologies to deploy profitably, effectively the world's largest demonstration center to help people understand the value of microgrids, renewable energy, distributed energy resources, utilizing our software to kind of demonstrate how that works. And lo and behold, Bitcoin's been on an epic run, and CleanSpark has really found ourselves, at least from an energy perspective, ahead of the competition. I was on a call with an analyst yesterday, and I think the comment was, it appears to me that some of the name brands in the Bitcoin space are playing checkers while you guys are playing chess. So we're really excited for where we are. Like I said, I'm the co-founder of the company. Been involved in the energy business for the last couple of decades, both non-renewable and renewable energy. And it was kind of my experience in E&P, exploration production of traditional oil and gas, that really brought top of mind to me just how important it is to have a bit more of a sustainable mindset. So shifted into renewables, and everything we do is focused on supporting ESG principles in our operation.
Awesome. And I love that chess versus checkers analogy. And one more question I want to ask, just on background of the company. So with regard to microgrids, for you guys, it's more about the software to operate the microgrids and getting that software deployed than hardware. Is that correct? Yeah,
it really is. That's a terrific question, Luke. So, solar has had an epic run over the last decade. Everybody has solar. In the energy business, they say that, so many of these big commercial facilities have made an attempt to become environmentally friendly by, quote, rubbing solar on it. And the issue is that the utilities kind of got wise to that. And so they shifted the time of use charges. So, they can only charge so much for energy in a 24-hour cycle per kilowatt hour. But what they did is they shifted those time of use charges. So solar is less effective. It produces less economic value in the middle of the day when the sun's shining, because the utility raises the prices when the sun goes down. So the idea is to deploy other types of generation. We just announced a partnership with a European wind turbine manufacturer. I've put a number of photos recently. We've got a warehouse full of energy storage systems, Tesla, Enphase, Iguana, a number of Fortress. And so what we do is we deploy solar, and then what CleanSpark's real differentiator is, we have software that enables our system to make all of these disparate resources work one with another without regard to the brand. So we're vendor and hardware agnostic, and we create a software defined ecosystem to provide the maximum value, either savings, greenhouse gas reduction, revenue generation, or resiliency, like in the case of the military.
Okay. And pivoting back to the Bitcoin mining a little bit, right now for the current Bitcoin mining operation, I mean, you guys are super close to that. I think it's fair to say it's your project. Would the idea be to continue to scale out that project and use it for revenue generation, plus sort of to show the world, here's how cheaply energy can be produced? Or would it be to take the technology that you guys are developing and allow others to use that for their Bitcoin mining projects?
So the correct answer to that is C, all of the above. And we've developed relationships. Rex is a great advocate for CleanSpark, and he's a really bright young man. We're grateful that he's had an interest in our stock, and I think I was his first interview a year ago on his YouTube channel.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's near and dear to my heart. He's a good kid. I really, I have kids his age, so I respect the passion that he has for what he does. But one of the things he said when he was talking about Mara and Riot is that they don't own their own facility. Now, imagine, if you will, that the Bitcoin industry is about supporting the blockchain, supporting the decentralized approach to blockchain-based verification. It really is about verifying and validating transactions, financial transactions, contracts. I mean, think of the lack of confidence and faith in voting. And so the idea is that to incentivize people to support the blockchain, you give them a token or a reward, and that the reward that we're talking about happens to be Bitcoin. So, you know, some of the majors in the place kind of made a move where they were just going to bully down the doors and buy lots of equipment. And CleanSpark looks at it differently. And the way we think about it is, since energy is the vast majority of the cost of operating a Bitcoin mining facility, we want to own the facility. We want to effectively own your home, right? So we own our home, we generate our own power. So our cost of mining Bitcoin is our cost of operating our company. I'd like to, you know, maybe suggest, and to kind of follow on what Rex said, companies like Mara and Riot, they talk about what their energy costs are at the hosting facility, but they neglect to mention that they then pay 20, 25, 30% of the cost of mining a Bitcoin in royalties to these hosting facilities. CleanSpark owns our own home. So what we've done is we've been very aggressive about securing the right kind of power. We operate at 95% carbon free. We own our own facilities, and we've procured our mining equipment on a just-in-time approach. So rather than have 500,000 mining rigs in transport vessels coming across the ocean, we've been continuing to secure increasing amounts of carbon-free or low carbon emitting power and deploying machines just in time. You know, there's been a lot in the news lately about all of the equipment from China. You know, 90% of the Bitcoin mining in China has now come offline. And in the Sichuan province, they were producing Bitcoin. They were using hydroelectric power during the monsoon season that was less than 1 cent per kilowatt hour. Well, what that did is that made sense for them to use terribly inefficient equipment because they were basically paying nothing for power. Those machines that have been pulled offline as a matter of public policy in China are never going to reappear in the United States because there's no economic value for that antiquated mining equipment. So what we see is this is a, you know, kind of a temporary lull, if you will, both in the price of Bitcoin, because, you know, heaven forbid a communist country wants to take away the ability for its citizens to be banked through a mobile device. But then, you know, with the negative press that, you know, tweets like Elon Musk talk about, in reality, you know, we see ourselves as supporting renewables because we put power purchase agreements in place that incentivize our suppliers to make more of an investment in renewables with the agreement that we're going to buy that power and they can count on that. So we see CleanSpark's efforts in the blockchain Bitcoin space as actually supporting renewables and creating further demonstration opportunities for our software, which we're now selling to and working with other large-scale cryptocurrency hosting facilities as well as other miners.
Yeah, I mean, I would make the claim that the China news plus sort of this attention that's been drawn on the energy use of Bitcoin is positive for CleanSpark.
Oh,
do you think that's fair to say?
Wildly positive. I mean, think about it this way. Look, when Bitcoin was $60,000, the global production, they measure Bitcoin mining in hash rate. And global hash rate was about 168 exahash. Since all of that mining equipment is pulled offline, we've reduced that by about 100. What that means is it's now 2/3 less difficult to mine Bitcoin than it was just 1.5 months ago. So a company like CleanSpark that owns its facilities, that has made strategic acquisitions of mining equipment, has now positioned itself that all of the influx of miners that do make economic sense, the S19s like what we currently are deploying, even some of the S17s and the Watts miners, there's a massive demand for rack space and power. And so for a company like CleanSpark, I think that's really what plays into the chess versus checkers kind of analogy, is that, you know, rather than the Neanderthal approach of just buying a bunch of miners and then paying 35% of what we make to have them plugged in somewhere, we're strategically building facilities and developing relationships to provide the power that, regardless of the price of Bitcoin, I mean, we publicly disclosed that our all-in energy cost is sub $4,000 on mining a Bitcoin. And you compare that to somebody else that has a higher energy cost and then pays more than 25% of the cost of Bitcoin. There's a disconnect here, and that's our fault from a standpoint of messaging. But Monday we were included in the Russell 2000 rebalance.
Yep, huge news.
If you Google a little bit, you'll see we're on the value ETF side of the Russell 2000. And for a hypergrowth company that did 10 million last year, and we gave guidance just on our last earnings report of 47 to 67 million this year. So 500% year over year growth, and we're on the value index. And I think it's just a disconnect with the messaging, and we're certainly working on shoring that up. But the best way to get there is just to continue to knock down our numbers every single quarter.
Okay. And a double question for you. One is, can you give us a sense as to where your hash rate is currently at? And this one from Rex out of the chat, whether you have an M, and I'm going to get the name wrong, M volt deployment yet.
Yes, absolutely. I can talk about it. So this week with so let me just give you a little bit of context. When we acquired the ATL data center, there were 12.5 megawatts of power. We expanded that to a 50 megawatt power purchase agreement. We have a fixed price of our power, 2.85 cents a kilowatt hour. It's a 5-year plan. And as the new power comes online, we're deploying miners. We have got those scheduled with mobile mining centers that are completely self-contained, environmental controls, everything in mobile units. So by putting everything on that initial piece of real estate and then duplicating that on our subsequent projects that are now in play, we're creating this kind of cookie cutter process that by creating these self-contained mobile mining rigs that are highly efficient, we have real predictability with how that works. So as we scale up, our hash rate increases, and we've said repeatedly that by the end of the summer, which is mid-September, we'll be over 1.3 exahash. We feel confident in that. I can tell you right now, we're this week at about 450 petahash and growing. My colleagues Zach and Lori have spent the week in Atlanta finalizing some related real estate transactions that we're really excited to talk about, that will just further enhance our ability to continue to produce. So 450 this week, 1.3 exahash by September, and then we've said publicly 3.2 to 3.4 exahash within the year following September. With regard to mVolt, absolutely. So on my Twitter, I've been posting a bunch of pictures of battery energy storage systems, the Tesla ones and the Enphase ones. And what we're doing is we're deploying solar plus storage and then providing that cloud-based controls platform, which is mVolt. We're utilizing existing contracts under the California Self-Generation Incentive Program. And it may be worth noting what that means is SGIP provides rebates for people for energy. And SGIP has incentives this year to provide energy storage for people that are in disaster-prone areas, zip codes or geographic regions that have had power disruptions due to some type of a disaster. And so CleanSpark has really been an active participant providing those energy storage systems in conjunction with the state of California, utilizing those rebate programs to provide that critical power just in time for the people that need it as we come into this fire season, which is, based on the droughts we have here in the West, it's expected to be one of the worst thus far. So, we have already begun to deploy those. We haven't started to market and take a ton of new orders simply because there were supply chain constraints with regard to energy. Having $200 million on our balance sheet as of the end of our last quarter really allowed us to shore that up and make some strong commitments to battery energy storage systems providers to provide us kind of first in line positions to fulfill some of those orders. So mVolt is definitely actively growing. We made an acquisition of SolarWatt, and that business, I think when we made the acquisition, we said it was going to contribute between $5 and $10 million within the first 18 months. To the top line of the company. We've already eclipsed that. So our backlog is in excess of $30 million, and we're filling that backlog just as quick as we can. That's just on the energy side. And then, of course, Bitcoin is an animal into itself.
All right, Matt. And let me ask you this question. This is typically the hardest one that I ask, but I think it's a fun one. If you had to name just one thing for the future of the company, it could be a short-term, medium-term, long-term item, but if you had to name one thing that you're most excited for, what would that be?
Wow, that's a terrific question, Luke. I think, I spend all day speaking with analysts from institutions, and I'm inevitably the conversation ends with the analysts scratching their head, trying to figure out why is it that we're valued per Bitcoin so much less than some of the majors that don't even own their own facility that have a much higher cost to mine Bitcoin. And so the one thing that I think that, as the executive chairman of the company and as the guy that handles all of the investor relations, whether it's institutional or retail, I think maybe having that tipping point of effective messaging where the light bulb comes on and people get it. It's, that we're not a value play, that it's an, oh my gosh, how did we miss that kind of a moment.
Okay. All right, I appreciate that. And we have some folks saying in the chat that Rex should join the board of directors. If you guys support that in the chat, drop the one in there. That's awesome. And Matt, from the investor perspective, what should we be looking for next from the company?
So we're continuing to grow. As I mentioned in my earlier comments, we did $10 million a year ago. We gave guidance 47 to 67 million just at the end of last quarter. Our stock price is down a little bit. We've had some, the challenge is that, we grew up from the OTC. We came here organically. We didn't do it with a big investment bank or a SPAC. Zach and I just kind of started this and we were grinding. It was employee 001 and 002, and we've matured on our own. And the negative part of that is we've attracted some short sellers that think that they can keep it down. And quite frankly, the Russell 2000, the value index, the rapidly expanding shareholder base, I think it's just a matter of time before people realize that, again, to the point, we're trying to be strategic, and I really like the chess analogy.
Awesome. Yeah, I love the chess versus checkers analogy as well, guys. If you missed that, rewind like 10 minutes and you'll see it. Yeah, and again, it's amazing the company that you've built from starting with just that one military project that you talked about and what it's grown to now. I mean, it's amazing what you've put together, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join us.
Hey, I'd love to come back at another time when it works for you guys. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And I said this at the top, but we have a lot of CleanSpark fans in the chat. Guys, drop the emojis in there. Show Matt the love for coming on and talking directly to the retail trader with us. Matt, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Have a wonderful afternoon.
You as well. Boom. How about that, guys? You like that one? Well, a lot of love for that one. CLSK, we've been getting asked about it for a while. We finally delivered. One thing you learn as you watch this channel, okay, is that I always deliver for you guys, or at least I try damn hard to. The only one that we still haven't been able to deliver on was with GameStop. Okay, we're still working on it. We want to get some GameStop execs. They're pretty tight-lipped. AMC is actually going to be joining next week, I believe. So we'll be bringing that one on. But that's what we do here, guys. That's what Benzinga, that's what Zinger Nation is all about. We want to bring the ideas, want to bring the community together. So like the stream, subscribe to the channel. I'll be back at it tomorrow at noon Eastern. I'm about to pass it over to my good friend Neil Hamilton for Get Technical. So if any of you are learning technicals, you're a technical trader, you want to do some chart art, Neil's going to be taking it away, going through his trade ideas based solely off of technicals. So let's get after it, guys. Let's keep trading. I will see you back in here tomorrow. Link to the Twitter is in the chat, so go and say hi. Drop me any stocks you want me to take a look at on the show tomorrow, and we will get to those. But all right, guys, I'm going to send you